The mine is dark, a coin chamber where the dead refuses to stay buried. Trauma scars it, turning every shadow into zombie, every silence into scream. One night in Raccoon City was enough to shatter the illusion of living a man who fights monsters on the outside, while the real ones glow at the walls within. The flashbacks storm in, vivid, ambitious, forcing him to relive the fall of a city, the betrayal of innocence, the weight of survivors, and guilt that no mission can ever lift. But his mind is still trapped in those burning streets, whispering that escape was never real, only the rest. 1998. We've got a Leon who is barely 21 years old, whose parents were taken from a very early age, dumped by his girlfriend very recently, on the very same day of his first day, arriving late and feeling like he failed even before he starts. On his way to his first day, he finds Claire Redfield, and he tells her that he wants to find survivors, and from now, we can see that Claire has another attitude. She has more like the eye of tiger, and he tells her that he wants to find survivors, and she tells him, do you actually think we're gonna find survivors?
You were advised to take shelter at the Raccoon City Police Station. Free food and medical supplies will be provided to everyone in need.
Oh my God, this is so unreal.
The police station's not much farther. They'll know something.
Yeah, but what if we're the only ones? What if there's no survivors?
No, there's survivors. It's a big city. There has to be.
And she's technically right. Pretty much the only survivor that he's able to find is Marvin Branagh, the first loss that matters. Marvin Branagh is the first cop who treats Leon like he belongs. Supportive. Marvin is the officer who Leon wants to become, and he has to watch him die slowly.
Marvin! Oh no. Damn it! I'll stop this, Lieutenant. I promise.
Saving his knife even for Resident Evil 4, this never leaves him, since he thinks everyone I rely on dies. And then, in the middle of the apocalypse, he starts flirting with everyone on his way. I guess it is also a side effect from trauma, and then the one he was flirting with dies. Or at least, he thinks so. After Raccoon City, he has no time to heal, since the US government threatens Sherry, the child he and Claire saved. So Leon is forced into service, not because he wants to be an agent, but because he is protecting Sherry, so that's the only choice he has. Operation Javier. Years later, 4 years to be accurate, we get a Leon who doesn't improvise anymore. He executes orders. He is in a real military operation next to Jack Krauser. He starts to develop an emotional control, something that he has to develop after Raccoon City events. A true professional. But also he starts to lose that idea of a hero. Heroes don't exist, and trust might be a weakness. He clearly notices that executing orders might not be always the right choice. His ideals begin to crumble little by little. Leon stops seeing the world as it should be and starts seeing what it truly is. A system rooted by corruption. Slowly becoming a weapon, from that point on, Leon stops questioning orders. He follows them. The government doesn't heal him, it keeps him functional. Faith fades, love disappears, belief in justice erodes. Leon realizes he didn't survive Raccoon City to fix the world. He survived to serve it, silently. Even revealing in the beginning of Resident Evil 4 that he used the trainings to forget about Raccoon City. In contrast to Hong, used to enjoy them on the Rockford Island. Another survivor who, of course, we all expect him to show up in Resident Evil 9 somehow. He might not even be human. He is truly a weapon, just like Leon is becoming at this point. But of course, if there is a mercenaries mode, we will have to have a honk mode, a mercenaries mode. It's pretty soon for that, maybe, but I do hope they give us one, and not something like Resident Evil 3 or 7 where we didn't actually have a mercenaries mode. The contrast between Leon and Honk here is that Honk is absolutely insane, and Leon, by now, has always been questioning the system. A fine line between his morals and following orders.
Not all hills lie beneath the earth, some drift in the middle of the ocean. Rockford Island, a prison, a slaughterhouse, an experimental labs under its own rot. Demons wearing human skin, fed by obsession, bloodlines, and control. Within these walls, experiments become rituals, science becomes worship, and survival becomes a sin.
Really, this game's remake will be awesome. Not because it's trendy or popular, absolutely no, but because this game is built different. It's just darker, more personal, unhinged, and even more controversial. Pretty much one of the biggest reasons it's not getting a remake just yet. It pushed survival horror to its limits, and the bosses, some of the most memorable in the entire franchise, twisted, obsessive, almost theatrical. Even the god, Shinji Mikami, father of Resident Evil, and director of the game that is the father of Resident Evil 2, said that this game was the actual Resident Evil 3, and that's the way it is.
We lowered the bar a bit with Resident Evil 3, but they asked us to make a numbers game. So we changed to satisfy more players. That was tough. It was a numbers title at the end, even though the quality was a little bit lower than that. On the other hand, VERONICA, which is not a number title, that game is the one that deserves to be a number title.
He said that this is pretty much the big cake instead of the actual Resident Evil 3. Even if it has a boss called Nosferatu. Now that's really dark. At its core, this game is a direct continuation of Resident Evil 2. And that's the reason it happens around 1 month later. And maybe you didn't even notice, but in the beginning of the video I forgot to mention something. Why Claire went to Raccoon City? Why did she find Leon? Or why Leon found her? She was there because she tries to find Claire Redfield, his brother. After surviving the outbreak, losing everything, she keeps moving forward, crossing borders, breaking into Umbrella facilities, refusing to let it go. Captured, imprisoned, isolated, for the first time, the story slows down enough to really focus on her as a character, because she's chasing answers now. Even Leon appears in the game, not directly, but he appears here because she finally finds Chris. Leon reaches out, a simple message, but one that ties the events of Resident Evil 2 and VERONICA together, reminding us that these characters didn't just survive the nightmare, they carry the nightmare with them. A remake could finally give this narrative the weight it deserves. Its modern storytelling, improved pacing, deeper character moments, and psychological horror that actually hits the way that it was always meant to. Of course, they have to be careful with these sensitive topics that could be really controversial today. A guy who is trying to be his dead sister and making better ads for the game. Here Claire doesn't allow herself to process what happened in Raccoon City just a couple days before. Instead, she keeps moving. She throws herself into action, searching for Chris and going into Umbrella, constantly putting herself in danger. Not because she's fearless, but because stopping good means remembering. Helping others becomes her way of coping. As long as she's doing something, saving someone, chasing a lead, she doesn't have to face the weight of what she survived. Both Veronica shows a Claire who's functional but not healed. Here she's trying to be strong, capable, and distant emotionally with herself. 2005. The second encounter of Claire and Leon. By one hand, we have a Claire who is still Claire. She keeps helping people, getting involved, and running towards people who need to be saved. But this doesn't mean that she's ignoring the pain. She keeps it under control by helping others. If she's saving someone, being useful, then she's moving forward. Then she doesn't have to look back. Just like Leon tells her, straight in the face, here.
I'm gonna scrub this virus from the face of the earth. You chose the role of rescuer rather than fighter like me. You chose a path that your brother and I couldn't follow. You weren't wrong.
Leon, thank you.
And by the other hand, we absolutely have the ugliest version of Leon. And one thing is immediately clear. Leon is distant, cold, restrained, and more controlled. It's not like her, it's someone who learns that feeling too much hurts, so he survives by shutting parts of himself down. The same emotional distance can be seen in Resident Evil 4 Remake.
Here's my question. Have you changed, Ada?
Don't think too hard, handsome.
Here we see how distant he's become, and also, on his own words, you can try to save one person and 100 other people die. He follows the mission, but he's still never fully present emotionally. By one hand, Leon has absolutely nothing to do with the version of himself of 1998, and by the other, Claire is still trying to avoid it, being a savior. Sometimes what people do instead of facing their trauma, all they do is being useful. Psychologically, this reflects what Viktor Frankl described as avoidant hyperengagement, a tendency where people escape unresolved trauma by constantly throwing themselves into meaningful action. In simple terms, when pain isn't faced, it gets buried under purpose. When suffering is not given a space to be understood, it does not disappear. It disguises itself as duty. A person will cling to work, to responsibility, to the act of being useful, because movement feels safer than stillness. Claire saves people not only because she cares, but also because stopping could mean confronting the past. In the years following 1999, Claire stays connected to Sherry Birkin through letters. Claire tries to remain a protective presence in her life, even from a distance. But Sherry, because of the G virus, becomes a government asset, experimented on, monitored, and controlled. Claire saves Sherry once, but the system takes her back. Later, in Resident Evil 6 files, Claire begins to suspect Simmons, Sherry's guardian. She tenses that something about him is wrong, although the story never fully explains how she reaches that conclusion, which is pretty dumb, absolutely. Still, it fits. Clara has learned to distrust authority after seeing how institutions failed in Raccoon City. Then, in Resident Evil Revelations 2, Claire is noticeably different from her earlier appearances. She is more mature. Even Chris is not here. They took separate ways, because of course, Chris had a pretty big impact on how Claire didn't show as much trauma as Leon did. She had someone who showed support her brother when they both lost their parents as kids. When she meets Natalia, her first instinct is to interrogate her, treating her as a potential threat. Moira has to stop her here. That moment says a lot. Claire is no longer guided by innocence. She's guided by experience. Her relationship with Neil Fisher shows that Claire still connects with people. And in the canon ending, when she watches her partner die, she doesn't break down. She is able to accept that. And her final message, wishing Claire's luck in China, reflects who Claire has become. She keeps moving forward, even without Chris, nearly 15 years later, after Raccoon City events. But hey, let's rewind a bit, because there is something very important that happens before. Resident Evil Damnation is easily my favorite movie in the franchise, and the best one in my opinion, also next to DEGENERATION, of course. Here Leon is sent from a country from Europe with no name, locked in a civil war, a place that feels politically grey, unstable, and very real. The important detail in the lore is that both sides of the conflict are using BOWs, bioorganic weapons. Tells us something crucial about the post-Raccoon City world. Here, BOWs are no longer a secret experiment or accident. They're just another military resource, another tool of war. Saved by Ada, as we used to. The movie is really dramatic, but never corny or exaggerated, or like generic. Overall, not as exaggerated as others. No hate to Vendetta, but yeah, like... Here there is not a forced hero, and for once, Leon doesn't win. He survives here. He barely survives here, because someone else intervenes. He's saved. That alone makes the version of Leon feel more human. He's not an untouchable action man here. He's overwhelmed, outnumbered, and pushed to his limits. This movie gave us several of the best scenes in Resident Evil series, even from video games, from whatever you name it. And here Leon is the protagonist, but he's not a damn superhero. This is Leon trying not to die. That's another reason the action works so well. The action scenes are genuinely tier, but not because Leon is invincible. They work because every fight feels desperate, bloody. Every effing bullet matters. He's skilled, yeah, but still vulnerable. The movie constantly reminds you that no amount of experience makes this job safe. And after watching it maybe 20, 30-ish times around my whole life, there's this ending with Alexander Kozachenko, the paralyzed leader who uses the Plaga to control his variant, the VOWs. Something, yeah, kinda pretty fantasy-like or fictional, but still, you have to recognize that it's very cool. Leon, as his final act, shoots him to destroy the Plaga inside him, which is framed like a medical intervention here. He performs a high-risk, ultra-experimental neurological extraction procedure, where with one single bullet, he removes the parasite inside him. A clean bullet. The parasite here is sticked to the spinal cord and is removed via high-velocity ballistic intervention. Yeah. With no anesthesia and recovery time, just one precise shot and procedure is complete. But jokes aside, the tone of the ending matters. Pretty emotional. No victory pose or something like that, just an exhausted Leon trying to deal with everything of what we just saw in him. The final scene shows Leon alone, drowning himself in alcohol, not partying, relaxing, just numbing himself because this mission didn't fix anything. The war will continue. Someone else will use BOWs again, and Leon knows it. In the ending, there's not a corny idea about saving the world. It's about realizing that the world doesn't want to be saved, and it's going back out anyway. Leon stops Kozachenko, but the war doesn't end. The system that allows BOWs to be used is still here. It's just a matter of time for someone to take the next step, because after surviving Raccoon City, he's personally recruited by the President of the United States. The President believes Leon's testimony and supports his decision to tell the truth about what's really happened in Raccoon City. Even when other ones said to erase or regret it, over time, Leon and the President become friends.
Whatever you decide, sir, I'm with you.
I've always valued your friendship, Leon. It's time we take responsibility and end this mess.
They share the weight of knowing the truth and the frustration of realizing how little it changes. Over time, as Leon continues his hard work, he begins to understand how something brutal is true. The world no longer has a cure. No matter how hard he tries, he is always late. If he saves one person, 100 more die elsewhere. BOWs don't disappear, they evolve, and corruption turns them into just another political tool. In Resident Evil 6, everything converges. The president, Leon's recruiter, ally, and friend gets infected. Very likely because he next to Leon wanted to say the truth to the world. This moment destroys what little emotional distance Leon had left, but it also clarifies his values. The president wanted the truth about Raccoon City exposed. Leon supports that decision fully. When he confronts Simmons, the man who represents secrecy, manipulation, and rewriting of history, Leon chooses to end him. And by killing Simmons, Leon is not just stopping a villain, he's defending the truth, even knowing it won't fix the world. Even if the world is broken, he acts anyway.
She's more than just a friend, isn't she? You have feelings for her.
After RE6, Ada Wong disappears from Leon's history. We never see closure between them, and from this point forward, Leon mainly appears in animated films. Just like if Capcom wanted him to be an action movie star, an actor, rather than someone who makes good games, because of course they wanted to focus more on horror, and I think they did right. But still, Chris is the main protagonist of games, besides that new protagonist we had. But next time we see him is in Vendetta. Here, Leon is at his lowest point. Vendetta represents Leon's emotional rock bottom. He is openly reckless, detached, and self-destructive. Drinking is no longer subtle, and he doesn't believe the fight will end. He's gone through so much drama, so much darkness, so much bioweapons, that he no longer believes that his sacrifices are changing the system. I would like to mention real quick that the pictures that you're staring at right now were taken by myself during the streams that I personally do in this very same channel. And I post every picture on Instagram. If you want to see more of these pics, I'll leave you the link in the first comment and description. Even though this movie might not be the best one, I think that it has awesome scenes, awesome action scenes, several scenes of the most memorable, most stupid scenes, but still, I cannot forget what these Japanese people wanted to make when they were making this action choreography. So, it's pretty entertaining and pretty memorable. Then Dead Island, a movie which is even worse than the last one when it comes to being generic and forgettable, but still it's pretty entertaining. Again, no hate. Here I think that even though Claire's drama and Claire's character is still there, she is sidelined. Despite being canonically passionate about motorcycles, the major action scene is given to Leon. The major motorcycle action scene. Because Leon sells more, of course, despite the fact that Claire is canonically the one who is passionate about motorcycles. This would have fit her perfectly, but this decision was clearly made because Leon is the action man when it comes to movies. It still is a pretty okay action scene, of course, but the highlight here for me is that still Leon here shows how far he's come. He's no longer driven by guilt purely. He doesn't show as much depression as he used to in the past in the other movies. He operates with experience and not emotional restraint. Not because he feels less, but because he's learned somehow how to function in the world when he knows it can't be saved. And both of them respond to what they live in very different ways. Honestly, for Claire, I think we haven't seen a full answer yet, at least not for her, since Capcom, of course, will do a VERONICA remake. I wouldn't be surprised if they go much deeper into her trauma. In RE4 remake, Capcom went much deeper into Leon as a character compared to the original one. In the original, Leon was mostly confident and cool, almost untouched by what came before. In the remake, you can actually feel the weight of Raccoon City in him. I wouldn't be too surprised if they do the very same thing with Claire. That'd be, of course, really interesting. Of course, I wasn't trying to hype up the game or anything, but I do see a clearer answer there. That's where we'll get the clearest answer. Because she turns trauma into action. Saving people gives her direction and keeps her moving forward. If she stays busy helping others, she doesn't have to sit with everything she's lost. But that doesn't mean the trauma is gone. Also, emotionally anchored in a way Leon wasn't able to do it. Her strong attachment to her brother gave her stability and relief after Raccoon City and Rockford Island events. Having someone she trusted gave her that ability, being able to manage everything differently. By the other hand, Leon turns to the inward. He keeps going, working, but it slowly wears him down. Eventually, this is shown with self-destructive habits, like drinking. He understands that the world won't really change, that saving one person often means 100 others will still die, and that bioweapons are now just another political tool. He keeps doing the job anyway, not because he believes in a cure anymore, but because someone has to stand in the way. We see this reflected on Leon in the violence in RE9, which absolutely is freaking awesome. Shaped by extreme situations, ordinary life can't absorb all that crap. That's the reason he used training before RE4 to escape his own mind. He trained not to be a good soldier, but to stay aligned with the version of himself that still works. Training keeps his mind calm in a way, using it to escape from his own mind. When that environment disappears, left alone with memories, guilt, and questions that don't have clear answers, that's when things starts to fall apart. Drinking, isolation, and emotional shutdown is the answer. At the end, for both of them, after all the monsters, BOWs, and everything else they had to go through, the hardest enemy was never the virus or the weapons. The memories, the guilt, the questions that don't have a clear answer, no matter how many threats they stop. It is the only thing you can't just shoot or outrun. By the end, the worst monsters they had to face was their own mind.